'87. The seats are bottomed out if you don't replace them. They really take a beating because they're lived in all day long. So, and it's hard on our officers. This is where they do their work, a lot of it, and
Are the
they need
seats on
quality vehicles and their safety. They depend on these things for their safety. So, this is one area I would not second guess the choose for them to try to get by delays and put off. It just means next year we're behind. Postponing costs. Next year you're going to still get hit with it and you're going to have other vehicles. So postponing, it's not long-term sustainable if you do a wide spread throughout the budget. So I would not, to put it on the list, I would not the two vehicles.
And this is Tammy Bachmark, and we had this discussion last year as well, and I'm with Mike on this one completely. These vehicles are heavily used. These are our first responders. We have numerous inquiries in the village from residents, about crime and carjacking and everything else. And the last thing I want to do, I think would be politically bad for any of us, would be to not ensure that their vehicles are up to snuff. So I get it, but I put it on the list, but I completely agree with what Maher said.
And Chief, can you just clarify, are any of the seats bottomed out, or are they, is there anything wrong mechanically with either of them?
Well, they're currently in service. The insides are pretty beat up. I would have to check, I can check the maintenance records on them.
I'm assuming it went into this calculation.
And keep in mind, that so this will be next year, so they won't be replaced probably until mid next year. So so the ones that the one vehicle that we're replacing this year, we only did one this year, isn't here yet. So we try to order them right at the beginning of the year, but there's such a backlog on them. So we see that they're going to go until, they end up going in well into 2020 before they're replaced too. So just to put that, we'll tip it up there.
Well, I'll put it on the list.
So you said which of these was your higher priority? 2 was your higher priority than 4?
It was, but I had to really, I will double check and I'll do a bigger.
I think
Deeper dive.
I wanted to put squad 4 on the list only because unless, it's gonna reduce fuel costs, and then with the maintenance of all having the same parts, unless there's something significantly wrong with it.
Well, if we come back to it, I don't know, do we need to discuss it further tonight? Because since we're gonna come back to it.
I don't, is there, okay, so 2 have already said they're not willing to cut this. I'm kind of feeling like I'm not willing to cut it either. So, we can put it on the list, but I'm not sure there's gonna be a majority
We put other things on the list that
Right.
we don't have a majority on, so.
Okay, all right.
It's worth having the discussion about,
Okay.
it's,
All right, let's move on. Bayside Capital Communications, we can't do anything about that, or North Shore Fire Capital. Special event barricades.
I have just a question of, is it for, what is it for? If it's for an event in the bid, or if it's for, something like that, do we really need, how many are we talking?
Or is this for the
And
4th
why?
of July?
It's for everything. For example, last weekend, we had the feast and the Packer party on the same weekend. Had we had enough barricades, we could have delivered and picked up on Monday, but because we did not, we had to have people come in on Sunday morning to reorganize barricades and redistribute so that we had enough.
So we
What
need
was
to charge
the, and what was the payroll to do that?
It was 2 people in double time, so just straight salaries, my guess would be a couple $100.
So do we charge that
Do we charge
back
that?
to the bid, or?
No,
Under the
We
2
should.
permits that were granted, you did not.
no,
So I think,
which is why I opposed having 2 events on the same weekend.
But just
But
as an example also, if we can only accommodate so many block parties on a weekend.
We only do one, it doesn't,
No.
well, I know from personal experience that if you have, like, you only, whoever's allocated to do the block parties, you're there for the whole weekend, like, even if there's, so like, if there's nothing planned on a Sunday, like, there's kind of to your point about the feast versus the, Packers
So
party,
for a
there's
block
no.
party, we deliver a barricade
Right.
on Friday, we pick it up on Monday.
Right,
But if our requests for block parties on a weekend exceed our available barricades, which happens,
right.
then we either have to turn someone down,
Fine.
or they have to rent their own. You know, it's just, we don't have enough barricades. And it would be it becomes an issue of, a lot of staff time to coordinate how these get deployed and where they go and when they get picked up and when they get dropped off. If we had more barricades, it would be a lot more efficient use of staff time.
So to go on that, so what I had in my notes to ask was, do we need more for the 4th of July parade? That's a village sponsored event. Do we need more barricades? Do we need more for, anything that we actually, I think that's our only big event, right? 4th of July? Right. Or are they used for construction? I mean, is that, because it just says special events, is there another reason that we need more?
Well, we use them for construction, I mean, we have construction barricades.
And
yes.
it wasn't listed for that, so I'm assuming for construction purposes we have enough.
We do.
Okay, so I would not support this in the sense that, first, if you're using staff time that's over the amount that we're charging special events, then we should be charging for it. But this is something that we could coordinate with the bid. If they're using more than anyone else, or the businesses are using more than the residents, or our construction doesn't need any more, then maybe they pay. I mean, it's $5,000. Other bids pay for public works items. Ours has not to date, but that's usually what bids do. They purchase things. So I'd like it on the list.
Yeah, I'd like it on the list as well.
Okay. How about this?
All right, this is Tammy again, and I do, just also just a personal note, but yeah, we just had a black party and there weren't barricades, so the residents kind of
Yeah, I thought that you
fixed
could,
up some things.
I thought
and,
there was
uh,
I have a question, yeah, cause I think that there's a reason that you can't have streets blocked for emergency reasons.
How do you have a block party with a permit without barricades? Wouldn't you have to say no if you didn't have?
I have no, I didn't organize it, I just attended. But they got the signatures and everything else. I'm assuming they went through all the process, but I'm not an enforcer, so I didn't ask for their badge or anything. But I'm just saying anecdotally, when you do your own makeshift barricades, it's not as safe as having the real thing. The lights aren't there and everything else. So I completely understand having maybe the bid be charged for rental of village, equipment or something like that. But I wouldn't want to preclude there being multiple block parties and other things like that because we don't have the requisite amount of equipment. But I totally support looking into perhaps charging the bid for, a rental fee for those things. But as far as passing that on to the residents, no, I think it's a nice service that we provide, and we have lots of, I love that we have so many areas that want to have a block party.
Okay, so I just somewhat anecdotal as well, but I attempted to organize a block party. We were not able to get the permit, had the signatures, had all of that stuff. Without providing that to the village, you're not supposed to close the street. It was my understanding when we came to the clerk's office that it was for not just because of the number of barricades, but also for emergency management, that they have to be aware of what streets are closed and where and when and, so, that was also somewhat of my understanding was why we had a limited number of barricades, but.
Well, I wanted to mention.
Oh, I see,
Is
you're
that
limiting
right?
the number because you don't have enough police for emergency
So like,
management.
if there
I
was
see
an
what you're saying.
emergency and you would,
That makes
and
sense.
the fire department needs to get to one side of the village and there's like 7 streets closed, they can't quickly get to where there could potentially be an emergency.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I think we
It's on
should
the
have,
Sounds like we need more information
Yep.
on this.
I think we should have, and I
I
wanna say too, there was a party, that I heard about that was actually not a block party, it was just like a private party. But someone got their neighbors to get signatures and close the street, and I think we should be a little more careful in terms of, street closures and that permitting, that really is truly a block party, not people just closing for a private party.
And there's barricades, so we know. If we're out of barricades, then that means there's a lot going on, and maybe the state can weigh in, can manage it.
No, it
Okay.
sounds like a couple of different discussions for sure. So, I mean, I guess if my thing is, if Leanne thinks we need more barricades, we address that issue as that issue and then go from there.
It's on the list. Okay, the stump cutter, $70,000.
So I have a question about it, just, it says if we didn't buy it and it went down, we have long-term rental. What's the cost comparison to a rental compared to a,
Actually, that was premature, and I should have double-checked that before I included it in the budget. We cannot find any that are available for rent, because we looked for that information. So if it goes down, we either.
is it because they're all taken, or they just don't?
It's not a piece of equipment that's
Okay.
rented.
And how many stumps are we typically grinding in a year?
I believe, just the other day, we talked about, about 125 is what the pace we're on currently.
You just do injections one day.
So if it went down, we would lose the ability to do that and the corresponding ability to plant new trees.
Correct.
Because we wouldn't be able to rent or cover, we'd have to, unless we bought a stump cutter at that
Right.
point.
Does Whitefish Bay have one that we could,
Rent.
share bear?
It'd be one of those issues where we would both need to use it at the exact same time.
Well, then we just wait a week.
Doesn't really work that way.
I think they contract out all their forestry operations.
But it's a stump removal, right? It's not the
Yeah,
tree.
but you, to stump 125 trees, you're talking a minimum of 2 months, 3 months.
Or you're saying if, I just thought, you mean the timing that they're doing their stumping and you're doing your stumping? We're changing our
Well,
time.
Joel just said they contract.
Mhm.
I don't know that they have a stumper. We could check, but again, it would be one of those, just to be very candid with you, if Whitefish Bay made that request to us, we would probably say, sure, you can have it when we're not using it.
Could you just find out the cost of the rental, I mean, of the contractor, only because, if they contract that out, you know, they
Sure.
don't have to buy the equipment, so just for maybe even future budgets, I'd like to know any kind of innovative cost-saving method would be great.
Okay.
Do you wanna put on the list to get the information?
Yeah, I mean, if we can, if it's a, $10,000 contract to do it, but it saves us 70,000 and, we have, time for them to do other things. Okay,
I would also like, this thing's been in use for 24 years, so this isn't a piece of equipment, once you buy it, you have it with your contract, and you're gonna have that cost going forward. And with the ash borer problem, we're gonna be doing a lot of stump grinding. These machines take a lot of abuse, because this is a pretty heavy-duty operation, so besides just what the rental is next year, it's what long-term, us investing in the new piece of equipment and having it available when we need it, when our staff is available, there's value to that too. So it's on the list, but I would definitely be reluctant to cut it.
okay.
Yeah, I support Mike, this is Tammy again, I support Mike's, response to that as well. I'm not opposed to looking into outsourcing, but I don't think that, I want that to be the priority of our department heads at this moment. I mean, if there is some information that's readily available, but yeah, with the longevity of the current piece of equipment and also the high use, and as Mike mentioned, great point, the predominance of this type of issue, because of the ash borer, we're gonna need it, and often there's a big cost to outsourcing. So there's often a great return on investment, but I'm not sure if we have that information to make an informed decision this budget year.
Oh, just any information would be great, thank you.
Okay, so let's move on to dump trucks. We've got 2 dump trucks. I have a question about the use of transportation aids for the dump truck. Does that matter in the big picture, Mark, in terms of the levy, overall levy, whether we use transportation aids here or in the general fund?
Well, using transportation aids here reduces the property tax levy in the capital fund,
Right.
which has a positive impact on the expenditure restraint calculations.
Would it be, just clarify with her, would it be tax levy if it wasn't state aid for this truck? Or would it be bonding?
No, those are not eligible to be bonded.
So it's tax levy that we're paying for it.
Why, cause we bonded for the garbage trucks, didn't we?
That's a specific exclusion allowed under statute, yeah.
And so you're saying, so you could use state aids for both of these?
Well, the truck 45, the second line item listed is a 2019 purchase, but they're not gonna deliver it. So we've got the money for that, which is why it's coming out of capital reserves, not tax levy.
So it's really not, we've already
Well-
budgeted and counted it?
Yeah.
We budgeted for it, but we won't be able to expense it till we take delivery. So it needs to be in the budget as planned to be expensed. But the funding for that has already been resolved. That was last year's funding.
Okay.
And what, just for my knowledge, not the one we deferred, but this, for number 45, it's a carryover, so I'm assuming it's in bad condition?
What's truck 45? Do we know?
The asphalt truck.
The asphalt truck?
I don't see.
And it's really just a matter of, again, the lead time on delivery schedules for some of the
Okay.
equipment just sometimes gets into the following year.
All right, fire alarm system upgrades, this is for Village Hall, correct?
Correct,
$30,000.
correct.
How does it relate to the elevator? I didn't understand that. It says, with the current upgrades to the components of the elevator, the fire alarm system needs to be updated.
The elevator is tied to the fire alarm system, so if there's a fire on this floor, the elevator is programmed that it will not stop